Okay, so we're going to do half of our foldable with this lesson. We're going to do the tabs that are complementary and supplementary angles. So let's start with complementary angles. Go ahead and open the tab and it should show this description. So what it means to be complementary are it's two angles that have a sum or that add up to 90 degrees. They can be adjacent or non-adjacent. So let's just go ahead real quick and talk about adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two angles that share a side and a vertex, but they don't overlap. So for example, this red angle I drew and this blue angle right here are adjacent. They share this common side right here. They share a common vertex, but they don't overlap. So non-adjacent would be, for example, just ones like this one and this red angle over here. They do share a vertex, but they don't share a side. So these two angles right here are non-adjacent. So let me kind of show you one more example. So if you had, let's say, an angle right here, this red one, and then if you had this blue one, pretend that's on the side, sorry about that. All right, these two angles share a vertex. They also share this side, but do you see that the space of the blue one, which is right here, in the interior space of the red one, which would be right here, they do overlap. So that would also be non-adjacent. So the adjacent angles, they have a common side and vertex, but the interiors do not overlap. That might just be a good thing to jot down somewhere in your notebook. Okay, so moving on. They can be adjacent or non-adjacent. So these two angles right here, this 15 degrees and this x degrees right here, are complementary. You can tell because of this box, this means, hey, those equal 90 degrees. Without that, you can't just assume that they do. They could be 89, they could be 92. But that box lets you say, yeah, those equal 90. So then you can subtract the 15 and find out that x is 75. So let's look at this example. It says angle LMN and angle PQR are complementary. So anytime you see complementary, that's a key word saying, hey, those equal 90. So that means I know that the measure of LMN plus the measure of angle PQR equals 90. Now they also tell us that LMN is 4x minus 2 and PQR is 9x plus 1. And so we can substitute those in and know that they equal 90. Now from there, I'm not going to make us solve every single one of these because I know from having you in Algebra 1 that you're really good at solving equations. But you would continue to combine like terms and solve for x, and then you could use x to find the actual degrees. But this part right here, just knowing that it equals 90 and being able to substitute in, using the vocabulary word complementary, that's the geometry portion. The rest is really back to just algebra. So just so you don't have to do a million of these problems with me, I'm going to go ahead on this foldable and let you just put and solve and not complete it all the way because I feel confident that between your past practice in Algebra 1 and your homework, you'll be great at solving. So let's go ahead and let's look at the supplementary tab. So supplementary are two angles with a sum of 180 degrees. So when you see supplementary, that says, hey, those add up to 180. So here we have an example of non-adjacent angles. They are supplementary. So we know that x, or angle A, plus angle B, which is 120, equals 180. And we know that because they said angle A and angle B are supplementary. So then you could subtract the 120 and find out that x is 60. So let's look at this example. The measure of the supplement, okay, right there, that's saying, hey, they're going to add up to 180 of an angle. So I'm going to use some space right out here. So some angle, I'm going to call it angle 1, is x. I'm just going to use x. So the supplement of that angle, so meaning there's another angle, is 36 degrees less than the measure of the angle. So one angle is x, and the other angle is 36 degrees less. So it's x minus 36, because it's 36 degrees less than angle 1. So it's the same as angle 1 minus 36, which is x minus 36. So those two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, are supplementary, which means angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. So if I do, instead of angle 1, I put x, and instead of angle 2, I put x minus 36, I find out that they add up and equal 180. So from there, I can solve. I can combine like terms. I can add the 36. So I get 2x equals, that's 216. And then I can divide by 2, and I can get x equals 108. And from there, I could plug back in. So angle 1 is 108, and angle 2 is 108 minus 36, which you could type in a calculator to find. So that is how you're going to use the foldable. It's just to remember, complementary is 90 degrees. Supplementary is they add up to equal 180. All right, let's try some examples. So we're looking at our 1.6 1a example. So it says, in the figure, name a pair of complementary angles. Okay, so complementary, they need to equal 90. So this angle, 37 degrees, plus 53 degrees equals 90. So the 37 degrees is angle, and that's, you could do BAC or CAB. And then the angle that's 53 degrees, I'm going to call that RST or TSR. Those are complementary. I'm going to abbreviate here because they equal 90. Now they want to know a pair of supplementary angles. Now remember, supplementary are two angles that add up to 180. So 127 plus 53 equals 180. So the one that's 127, that's angle CAD. And the one that's 53 is angle RST. And they are supplementary. And last but not least, what's a pair of adjacent angles? Remember, adjacent angles have a common side and a vertex, but they don't overlap each other. So that would be the 127 and the 37. So that's angle CAD is the 127 degree one. And the 37 degree we can call either CAB or BAC. And they are what's called adjacent. All right, let's look at example 1b. So I'm going to go ahead and have you try to name a pair of complementary angles. All right, so complementary means equals 90. And remember, 41 plus 49 definitely equals 90. So the 41 degree I'm going to call angle FGK. And 49 I'm going to name angle GKL. And they are complementary. All right, now I'm going to have you name a pair of supplementary angles. Okay, so 49 and 131 are definitely supplementary. So remember, the one that was 49 is GKL. And the one that's 131, I'm going to call KGH. And they are supplementary because supplementary means equals 180. All right, go ahead and find a pair of adjacent angles. All right, so 41 and 131 are adjacent. And so 41, remember, was FGK. And 131 was either HGK or KGH. And they are adjacent. Okay, so looking at example 2a, it says angle 1 is a complement of angle 2. So what does it mean when it says it is a complement? All right, so complement means it equals 90. So angle 1 plus angle 2 add up and equal 90 degrees. So you know angle 1 is 62 degrees plus angle 2 equals 90. So you can then subtract 62 and you can find out that measure of angle 2 is 90 minus 62 is 28 degrees. Okay. It says angle 3 is a supplement of angle 4. What does it mean to be a supplement? All right, so a supplement means that they add up and they equal 180 degrees. So measure of angle 3 plus measure of angle 4 equals 180. Now we know that angle 4 is 47, so I'm going to substitute that in. And then I can subtract 47 from 180, so I can just subtract the 47 over here. And so I find out then that that is 133 degrees. All right, I think we've probably got this good enough to move on to example 3, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip 2C and 2D. So let's look at example 3. It says, when viewed from the side, the frame of a ball return net forms a pair of supplementary angles. So supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. So it says find angle BCE and angle ECD. So I know that they add up to 180 because it told me they were supplementary. Now what would you have once you substitute in 4x plus 8 and x plus 2? All right, so you'd have 4x plus 8 plus x plus 2 equals 180. And from there, you would go ahead and solve it. But just so you don't have to end up having, a 20-minute Edpuzzle video, I'm just going to put and solve, and it will save our solving practice for our homework. All right, I want you to go ahead on example 4. It says that angle LMN and PQR are complementary. I want you to set up what the equation would be with the numbers and the x's in it. All right, so it said complementary, so we know that they equal 90. And so we know that angle LMN, which is 4x minus 2, plus PQR, which is 9x plus 1, are going to equal 90. That would be our setup, and then you're going to combine like terms and solve for x.